What is up, everybody? Welcome to this Trainwreck Sports podcast where we are not here to play school. We're here to talk the week 7 college football slate. I can't believe it's week 7.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Time flies when you're having fun, and we're always having fun watching
Well,
college football.
Sure.
Well,
Sure, we're always having fun watching college football.
do you want to touch on the state of Penn State football right at the top here, or are you just going to leave it there?
I don't know. I mean, we'll leave it for when they have to play. When we talk about them when they play in either Indiana or Ohio State, we'll just leave it for that.
Okay. All right. Well, we do have to talk about the state of Texas, the Texas State Fair, and Oklahoma, Texas. Red River Shootout, Red River Rivalry, Red River Showdown, Red River. They've had I don't even know. There's a couple more names I think they've tried.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, shootout is what we still call it because we're not cowards. And then
I'm surprised that shootout. Where how are we not back to shootout? It's 2025. Like, get shootout
I don't know.
Back in here.
That's a good question, honestly. Maybe soon. Then they changed it to showdown, and then it was like still too close because people would like slip up sometimes. And Gus Johnson, whatever he would call it, he would always say shootout still. And then he would be like, we got a shootout in Red River. So he would just like work around it. And then now they just change it to rivalry.
He's a smart man.
Yeah.
But so we will talk about, I mean, Texas, we're not expecting an unranked Texas team.
No.
Coming into Red River this year. If we were expecting a number 6 versus an unranked, we were definitely expecting it to be flipped. Oklahoma has started the year incredibly strong, and Texas just has faltered. They lose last week in the SEC opener to Florida. And Texas has a lot of issues right now, and I think. Well, let's start with the Texas side before we get into Oklahoma, just because we're so ingrained in Texas. We can talk about everything else. A lot of the issues, people have been putting a lot of it onto Arch, saying that Arch is a bust. Arch is not living up to his expectations, everything else.
Well, what was the Athletic article that came out yesterday? Arch Manning is the first flop in college football. That's what they
first? There's never been another?
Well, I think they're saying because of the expectations that he came in with.
You know, it's funny. This is where I was going to get to is the expectations he came in with are A, because of his name, not something of his fault, and B, because of everybody else who talked about it and put the expectations on him. Arch did not come out and say, like, I'm the best Manning all ever. Like, it's not like Arch was putting these expectations, not like Texas was putting these expectations. In fact, Texas, tried to pare down the expectations as much as anything else, right? Like they didn't start him right away. It's not like he's a true freshman right now coming out the gate. They tried to let him simmer, let him sit. But the biggest issue with Texas is the talent all over the field. Like the offensive line is not what it needs to be. It's not what it's been in years past. They don't have NFL talent like they've had. Like no Calvin Banks ain't walking through that door. Like they don't have guys.
No Calvin Banks, no Jake Majors, no.
And that's the skill talent is also not close to what it's been. There's no Bijan Robinson. There's no Matthew Golden. There's no Xavier Worthy on this roster who's a dynamic game breaker. The whole offense is an issue. The defense is still really good. Don't get me wrong. I think that they haven't been like the issue here at all. You have here the 5th ranked unit in the country, 12 points a game. We saw how well they played at Ohio State. They played well last week even. It's the offense is the issue, and I think you have to look squarely at the head coach. Like the recruiting-wise, to not have the talent here set up for Arch in this big year where you were supposed to have him. But also, we've talked about it, I think, since week 1. I don't think they've changed it since week 1. There's a lack of inventiveness this year. There's a lack of creativity in the offense, whether that's because they don't trust the line, they don't trust the quarterback, whatever it may be. It's not the same looking type of Sark Texas offense that we've seen for years now, and that's what's hindered them more than anything else. The defense does its part, but it's not Arch Manning. It's a holistic offensive failure from the head coach all the way down to every facet of every player on the offense so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said. I mean, that's the thing too. It's like it's not a recruiting thing because they're still like ranked like high in recruits, and they bring in these talented receivers, but they're just like I don't know if there's just like a lack of like development that's taking place. Like they're not figuring out ways to like get these guys open, scheme them open, like make it easier for them like down the way. Like Parker, like there's no reason that like Parker Livingston should be like the number one receiver on that team right now. And obviously him and Arch have like a connection. They're roommates with each other, so that's like kind of spreading from that. But like Ryan Wingo was a 5-star guy coming in, and he had a nice touchdown last week, but has been like pretty much a non-factor throughout the season. DeAndre Moore, who was good last year when he was playing with Quinn, has like kind of been leads the team, but like is not anything like special in like terms of stats wise. And I don't know, like Arch, you could look at that game. He had 2 interceptions last week against Florida, and you see like he's like running for his life on a lot of plays, and he's just chugging downfield, and it's a mix of things. Like he got sacked 6 times, and he got hit like probably twice as many as that. It's the line can't give him protection, and he also is not being decisive enough on a lot of those plays. There's times when he has no chance at all, and he's getting lit up, or it's he needs to take off and run, or needs to throw the ball. He is looking so much for every play to be the big shot downfield. And whether that's because just in his head, he needs to be like, because they're coming from behind, he's like, we got to get back into this game fast, or there's nothing like spread out in front of him in the field, like closer in for him to make these plays, or guys aren't open. Like there's no check down at all. So I don't know. It's there. Yeah, it's a whole mess that Sark needs to figure out himself. And look at the mirror and be like, what were you successful on from the last couple years, and how do you replicate that? It's crazy to think that this was a team 2 years ago that won the Big 12, and a year ago was in the SEC title game and was in the college football playoff. How like much it's changed. And obviously there's a lot of talent that's gone to the NFL, but it's a crazy flip over for them to be doing this. And like you said, the run game, there's nothing. Even with Quintrivon Weiser coming back last week, he couldn't get anything going. Jarrett Gibson can't get anything going. Niblett can't get anything going. Those guys, they're just not up to par of what we've seen out of Texas running backs the last forever, honestly, but especially the last like 4 or 5 years, going from Bijan to Jatavian Sanders.
Yeah, it's not the same
not
for them.
Not Jatavian Sanders. Jonathan Brooks. Jatavian Sanders was a tight end. Jonathan Brooks, the running back.
Yeah, got you there. And it's not the same, but that doesn't mean that they can't figure it out offensively. But there still is talent there. If they can get the line in order, they're scoring 30, like you got here, they're the 65th ranked offense, which is middle of the pack, but they're scoring 30 points a game. Like that should be enough to be able to compete in these games, and you don't have to play at the Swamp. They have a tough SEC schedule, but that is a great defense they played. A team that was back against the wall. Like Florida needed that win, probably arguably more than Texas did.
Yeah.
And Lagway actually kind of looked like himself last week. So that was just a tough spot for this Texas team to go into and win that game. But I just think here, a rivalry game, Texas, you never know what's going to happen. This is a spot where they can kind of save their season and rally back around. But Oklahoma is formidable. Obviously, they're number 6 in the country. They started the season at number 18, as you have here. And John Mateer, who right now up in the air whether he's going to play or not. I mean,
give me 1 second. Sorry, I had to plug that computer in so it didn't die on us while we were going.
Good call.
It's up in the air. Last thing, I mean, he had hand surgery on his throwing hand, on his right hand. He had broken a bone, and it's only 12 days out from the surgery. And he feels confident that he might play, which was a crazy turnaround. At first, when they saw it, they were talking about that he would miss like at least like 4 weeks. So if he's going to be back, that's massive. When this kind of touches on that too, if he is back, people who need to make an impact on Texas side of the ball, like you mentioned, they're 5th overall in defense for points per game. So not obviously they're playing very well, but it's Colin Simmons, who is supposed to be this premier edge rusher, is not lighting up this team like he's supposed to be doing at all. And Trey Moore, 2 of their premier edge rushers, they're not doing anything. These guys who had multiple, who had 6, 7, 8 to double-digit sacks in the years past. Colin Simmons only his second year, but had a great freshman year. Have only combined for 1.5 sacks this year. That's terrible. And if they need to step up, especially if John Mateer's playing, come make this dude's life hell. He's coming off an injury, even though it's only been a couple weeks. Come after him, make him feel uncomfortable. So we'll see there. But Oklahoma, no, they're just been lining up. They did this 2 years ago too with Dylan Gabriel when they got in a good transfer quarterback. and they were able to just kind of not run the table because they didn't win the Big 12 or anything, but they came in and they had a fresh new offense, and they with a good coach, and they have a stingy defense. We're talking about how good Texas defense is. Oklahoma is what? They're second in the country?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7.2 points a game. I mean, that's insane. And they have actually won in these bigger games. I mean, Michigan they played, who was at home but still beat a ranked opponent, and then they beat Auburn, who's another ranked opponent. So where they're showing up in these big moments, Texas has lacked this year for sure.
It's true. It's true, and it's kind of it makes you wonder what the situation is NIL wise and recruiting wise going on in Texas and in Oklahoma, because Oklahoma had a rough start last year. Venable, it was like, oh man, is Venables going to be able to do this XYZ? Well, they've got it rolling now. They're never going to lack money to get into that program or try to get it. They're never going to lack resources at that program, and I think that people continue not. I mean, Oklahoma's been a traditional power, but there's really no reason they should be, except for that they're kind of close to Dallas and can get people to leave the state to come there pretty easily, the state of Texas to come there pretty easily. But it's not like Oklahoma is this crazy fertile recruiting ground. They don't have a lot of in-state advantages that way or anything. Mm-hmm. But Oklahoma, the university and the program, their sole mission basically is to be good at football. That is what they want to do. Their brand is we're a good football team, and so they're going to make it happen. That's what they've done again. And Brent Venables, I mean, maybe he was you want to talk about what's wrong with Clemson, to go just to jump around a little bit. Clemson might just their biggest thing might be that they don't get the dynamic defensive players anymore because they don't get Brent Venables anymore. Yeah, and I think he's a really good coach. I think that they're going to be a problem in the SEC for a long time. This is just what they do. They're just a great program. They're really well run, really well built throughout their great set of boosters.
Jordan, they're still a Jordan brand, right?
It's Jordan brand. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I mean. They have NIL money out the wazoo. Yeah. They can do whatever they want to get guys to go there. Yeah. So this has kind of been the 21st century of Texas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma has, while these games, I don't know what the exact series split is in the last. You got the last 10 matchups in Oklahoma.
The last 10 matchups, it favors Oklahoma 7-3, but the last 4 matchups, it's 2-2.
But I'm going to check quick to see in the last
the quarter century
since 2000 what it's like. But yeah, this is Oklahoma has had Texas's number. They've had this rivalry when it comes to national prominence and everything else.
And a big factor of that was they had the better quarterback. I mean, as much as I know you don't love Sam Ehlinger as much as as I do or our mom does, but they had the better quarterback for a lot of that time. They had Baker. They went Baker into Kyler into Jalen Hurts was their 3 quarterbacks that they had in a row at one point. So I mean, that does a lot for you in terms of in terms of gameplay. And they obviously, they had CeeDee Lamb coming out. They had, some of these guys were great college players. Obviously, had Hollywood Brown, who hasn't been as good of an NFL player as you would hope, but Charleston Rambo, even that guy was awesome in college, who hasn't done anything. I don't think he's in the league at all. But they just had tons of talent. Where Texas was floundering for a bit, and it flipped these last few years, where Texas is getting in all these recruits, and Sark really turned the program around to get them back to being a 10-win team. In a time where Oklahoma takes a dip with Lincoln Riley leaving. Even I left out Caleb Williams, part of that, run too.
Yeah. Saved them in one of those games.
Did save them in one of those games. I believe that's the one that's 50. It's 54 to 49 or some crazy score.
And it's freshman year. He comes in halfway through, and
that's the thing to expect in these games. It's going to be high scoring. What's the over/under on this game? That's what I'm curious about.
That's a great question.
I'm looking right now. What do you have for the last 25 years? Did you find what they're?
I'm looking it up still, trying to do math in this quick moment. Get the since then. I mean, it's Oklahoma dominance.
Yeah.
Most of the years.
Come on. Here we go.
You can't come up here.
43.5. I would take the over.
It's only 43.5.
Yeah, I would take the over.
Yeah, I mean, these are two very stout defensive teams.
It is, but I think you kind of just gotta throw that out like away especially when it comes to rivalry games and like a historic rivalry where there is high scoring, So,
including the 2018 Big 12 title game, Oklahoma leads the series 17-9 since the turn of the century.
Yeah, I don't count that. Like, I mean, obviously it is counted in the record books, but I don't count that as much because it's not Red River. I mean, it's not. I mean, it technically is, but it's not at the Cotton Bowl. It's not neutral site. Yeah. I mean, it is a neutral site game because it was at Jerry World. But I don't know. That one's weird to me that it counts because it was a conference championship game. But
yeah. So what do you got for this game?
Well, I can't pick against Texas. That would just be bad.
You can.
No, I can't. I gotta just. We're not. It's not like we're keeping tally on who gets games right or wrong in this thing. So I'll go with Texas, and this is because we still don't know if Batir is actually playing or not. That line changed like from when we were talking about this. It was opened up as Texas 3.5 favorites, and it was down to 1.5, and now it's swung back to Oklahoma 1.5. I'm gonna say Texas, 28-21.
28-21.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Texas too, and I do think it stays under. I think it's gonna be 17-14 Texas.
Ooh.
I think it's gonna be a slobber knocker.
Like a Big Ten.
Shout out Oklahoma's own Jim Ross.
Oh, true.
That's what we're gonna get out of this. But I think Texas back against the wall. Like this is the kitchen sink game. This is to save their season. And even if they go 7-5 this year, if they beat Oklahoma, they could feel good about something. I think Texas gets it done. And it goes back to my theory.
Team kind of ruin Oklahoma's season a little bit. Yeah.
And also, it goes back to my point that I don't think there's a dominant team in the SEC or in the country really this year. And the SEC, I think, is just going to cannibalize itself in a way, and this will be part of it. Texas getting a win over Oklahoma. Let's get into some of the Big Ten action. We spent a lot of time there with Red River. Let's go to Big Noon. Let's go to Illibuck. Hold up, I want everybody to see this. If you've never seen the Illibuck, you guys got to see the Illibuck. It's a thing of beauty. It's just the greatest, one of, if not the greatest college football trophy out there. I think the best, honestly. The
land grant trophy, which we're going to see in a few weeks. That's the best trophy in college football.
You are extremely biased on the land grant trophy. The land grant trophy makes no sense. It is what it is.
It doesn't make sense. It's a block of wood.
It's a big block of wood.
It's got a Spartan on it, and it's got a Nittany Lion on it, and like 2 pictures of the colleges.
Here we go. Look at that thing. Look at that thing. With Ezekiel Elliott holding it up. So the Illibuck.
Beautiful.
The Illibuck is a beautiful trophy. It used to be a live turtle back in the 1920s. The turtle died in like 1926. They made this wooden turtle. There's been 10 different iterations of the wooden turtle now. It's the second oldest trophy in the Big Ten. What's the first? Do you know off the top of your head? I don't know.
Little brown jug.
That makes sense. Michigan and Minnesota.
It's
right?
older by a lot because I looked this up. I was like, because I was going to ask you if as like a trivia, see if you knew what it was. 1903 is the little brown jug. 23 years before Illibuck. But what's sad and kind of funny about Illibuck is that, like you said, it was a real turtle. They picked the turtle so that it would be a long time like mascot for the game. It died a year later.
That's messed up.
So I don't know what's going on.
Curse. Who decided to do the turtle? Because if it was Illinois, they might have cursed themselves.
I don't know. It might have been a group effort. I don't know.
Ohio State, and when I say that, Ohio State leads this series 68-30 and 4, 4 ties in there. They've won the last 8 matchups. You have here technically 9, but they vacated 1 win.
In 2010, their wins were vacated. Yeah.
And the first one since 2017, they were supposed to have one during COVID year. It didn't end up happening, but that's just insane to not have this game for 8 years in the same conference and a rivalry.
Yeah, it's very. I don't know why that wasn't rescheduled sooner. I don't know any other like rivalry that wasn't like even quote unquote rivalry. Any like this is actually a rivalry, but any like matchup in the Big Ten that was postponed so long because of COVID. Like I feel like everybody's played. Like Penn State seems like they've played everyone. Michigan seems like they've played everyone. Like Wisconsin, like it's very strange that it's been since 2017 for this to happen. But that's awesome that it's back. I mean, it's a cool rivalry trophy. It's one that's like people don't talk about a lot. I used to play this game all the time in NCAA 2011 because when you picked it, it would show the trophy. Like if you pick the two teams, that's what pop up in the middle. It would say rivalry game, and it would show Illibuck. I was like, that's cool. And I would be playing as Ohio State because Illinois was really bad. But it's exciting that it's back. It's fun.
It's back, and Illinois. We thought, a couple weeks ago that game against USC. It's like, are they going to be able to get off the mat? What's going to happen? They beat USC in a thriller at home a couple weeks ago on Big Noon in Champaign. They put up a ton of points last week on the road at Purdue. And so they're back in this spot right outside a playoff spot and with a chance to ruin one of their rival seasons here. And when you're Ohio State, I mean, this is whatever we've seen with Texas happen, this is the toughest test of the season so far for the Buckeyes. You're going into a motivated. Now, we saw Illinois a couple weeks ago against Indiana, and that was a game on the road, not at home, but against a top tier opponent, and they just got dusted, right? And so that's why this spread is 17.5. The Buckeyes defense is the best, I believe. Is it the best in the country?
Yeah.
5 points per game, and they're averaging 37 points per game themselves. And Illinois, who you would expect to have a better defense, I think their stats probably just getting a little bit warped by that Indiana game.
Indiana, yeah.
But we're in a weird spot here. This is I don't know what to think. I think 17.5 is way too big. I think this game could be like 17-3, like something. I could see something like that, but I don't see the Buckeyes blowing out Illinois in Champaign with how crazy that crowd's going to be. And we haven't seen Ohio State's offense high flying on the road really just yet either. We saw them a couple weeks ago at Washington, and that game it's not like they blew them out of the water offense. Now they handled Washington physically in that game. I don't know if they're going to be able to handle Illinois as well physically.
But they saw a couple weeks in a row with Ohio and with Washington playing them super close through the first half, and then kind of pulling away in the second. Even like that pulling away, we thought Washington was going to cover. They ended up not doing it just because the offense couldn't do anything. And it's kind of seeming like Illinois' offense much better than Washington's. So that's another factor in for 17.5 points. They have Hank Beatty is his name. Yeah. Hank Beatty, wide receiver, is number 5 in the country for receiving yards. Number 2 in the Big Ten. But 569 yards so far this season. Luke Altmaier, who in that USC game a couple weeks ago had a passing, receiving, and rushing touchdown, and has 12 touchdowns a year to 0 interceptions. So he's taking care of the ball as much as you need to and can run well. And he was quarterback last year. He's been in this system for a few years that Bielema has going on. So they're a well-oiled machine of a team, honestly, right now. And then reflecting, obviously, they got blown out really bad by Indiana, and that was their biggest test of the season. But I don't know. They seem like they rebounded it well. Here's where I'll talk about Ohio State. Big loss to a ranked opponent, and then they had another game. They rebounded well. Not what Penn State did at all. They lost, did not rebound.
Not at all.
It's interesting. And Ohio State, obviously, I don't know, people were talking about that they might be one of the greatest teams ever. Defensively, it's highly possible. Offense, not really. Julian Sand isn't bad at all, completing 80% of his passes. He's got 13 touchdowns on the year. He's only got 3 picks. He knows where to put the ball. He looks great. Can't really run at all. And Jeremiah Smith and Colonel Tate both have 460 yards receiving, have combined for 10 touchdowns this year. But neither one of them is lighting it up as much as you would think. Jeremiah Smith coming in this year, people were he might be win the Heisman. And he's not at that level at all right now. And I mean, it's not to say that he can't get to that, but we've seen him struggle early in some of these games and be taken away. Honestly, whoever is the defensive coordinator for Illinois needs to follow as much as possible Texas's playbook for taking away Jeremiah Smith, because it's twice now that he has been able to do anything against them. So I don't know. It's interesting to see. Ohio State, obviously, until they lose, is gonna stay as the number 1 team, and rightfully so. But I don't know. That big win against Texas looks worse and worse every week. And if they come into a close one against Illinois here, and the next game we talk about is a little bit different, I could see them getting dethroned, even being undefeated.
I can see that too. So what do you got for this game?
I still think they'll win, but I agree with you. I don't know. I'll give Illinois at least one touchdown. I'll say 21-10.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm going with 17-9.
There you go.
And I think that's
I think honestly though, we could see it be like 7-3 at the half. Like it's gonna be close. Yeah.
It's not going to be an exciting football game. Like if you're hoping for electric offense, big scores, big plays down the field, I just can't imagine that. I mean, I think Illinois is going to try to do that. I think they're going to try to push this game, but I just think Ohio State's defense is just so good, and the type of game they want, they're going to make it a grind fest. They don't care about covering the spread. They don't care about blowing these teams out. They just want to win these games, and I think that the Buckeyes will outlast Illinois here. Let's finish off with the biggest game of the week, I think, honestly. Like we talk about these two rivalry games, but this is the most interesting game for what we could see for going forward. Number 7, Indiana, on the road at Oregon. And you mentioned this last week. If you would have said when the Big Ten was doing all its expansion that Indiana-Oregon was going to be one of the biggest games of the year, people would have been looking at you crazy. But the Curt Cignetti effect is real. This team is on top of the world. They have one of the Heisman favorites in Fernando Mendoza, who also is going to be top pick potentially in the NFL draft coming up. They have an electric offense. The defense has been great this year. They just have a great team all around, but so does Oregon, obviously. A great offense, great defense there. Dante Moore is one of the Heisman favorites as well. This is a team. Honestly, these two teams are very similar to me. Like they're just both complete football teams. It's hard to find a hole on their rosters. And Oregon being at home is why they have the 7.5 point advantage here. It's really, I mean, it seems like a big spread, but they're kind of just saying like you got to remember college football spreads are a little different than the NFL. Six is basically a 3-point spread. So they're basically saying Oregon is, on a neutral field, they might be like a 1-point favorite, 2-point favorite here. Autzen a tough place to go play. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen Indiana get a big win like this on the road yet. But this is an interesting matchup. And the what we got to talk about is the quarterbacks, right? Like Mendoza and Moore are the headliners here. And if they both are up to their task, it's going to be a long day for both defenses. If one of them slips up in this moment, it's going to be a long day for their team no matter what. I feel like that's going to be the engine of this game going forward, as simple as it sounds.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Mendoza, he only has he's got 16 touchdowns on the year. He's only got 1 interception, so he takes care of the ball. And Dante Moore, we saw what he could do 2 weeks ago in a hostile environment on the road and, step up in these biggest moments and make plays when he needed to. It's gonna be fun. I mean, like you said, the Heisman. It's Mendoza's 5th in the Heisman right now, and Dante Moore's 2nd, which is a little. I mean, just look at like pure like stats wise, Mendoza I feel like would be a little closer in, but this is like honestly it's like becoming. They're part of like a 3-man race right now with them, like Carson Beck. I feel like, and this is gonna be like possibly like someone's Heisman moment in this game, especially Oregon. If Dante Moore comes in and this is like their second top 7 win in 3 weeks, then I think Dante Moore would jump to be the favorite, especially. Like you said, though, I think both these teams, there's not really like there isn't any holes. They're both just really solid like teams, and that's kind of the same. When you look at Oregon, and they have a lot of talent, they get in a lot of like NIL and a lot of like good recruits, but there's nothing like crazy outlandish on this team. Like Dante Moore is being talked about a lot, and that tight end is being talked about a lot. But they or Sadiq, but like on the defense, like they have like not really like anything crazy like name talent. They have Mateo Uyunglele, who has 4 sacks this year, but that's not even like lightening up anything crazy. That's like it's like 5th in the Big Ten, so it's nothing wild. They just are like well built and well put together, and Dan Lanning's a good coach. So it's I don't know, it's fun that this is like a big matchup actually now, and that Indiana is kind of like becoming a little bit of like a relevancy, especially after under Kurt Schnetti coming into last year, got them into the college football playoff. They were ranked 5 at one point, and they were able to get in. Before that, their highest ranking was during the COVID year, so it doesn't really count to me. But it's gonna be a great matchup, and it's only the 4th time that these teams have ever played each other, which is wild. You got 2 matchups back in the 60s. One was Portland. It wasn't even in Eugene. And then it was Portland and then Bloomington. And then 2004, there was a matchup in Eugene, which Indiana won randomly. So this is, it's kind of exciting to see like these 2 programs who have not had like any really interactions at all going against each other.
It really is. It's wild to see, and just this. We talked about this a couple weeks ago with the Penn State Oregon game. How these is this the start? They even had it. They had rivalry series on the field or whatever else. Like, it's interesting to see like what games and what rivalries are going to start through all this expansion. And maybe this is one that we get a classic right away. And this very well could be the Big Ten title game down the stretch too. Whatever. I mean, Ohio State obviously would need to slip up there too, but these 2 teams are both worthy of it. They're both worthy of the playoff. It's going to be interesting, man. I'm very excited to see how this one plays out. What time? Is this on CBS? I don't remember what time this game is on.
Let me 1 second. It is. Where is it? Yeah, 3:30 CBS.
3:30 on CBS. So not a night game, but Autzen going to be booming. It's going to be a fun place. Fun place to be.
It'll be nice.
It always is a fun place.
It's going to be the sunsetting by the 4th quarter. Hopefully, we got a close game. That'll make it nice. Hear the shout song in between the 3rd and 4th quarter. That'll be
exactly.
Nice. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's going to be a great atmosphere. What do you think's going to happen?
I'm sticking with Oregon. Just because I don't know. I'm like more of like a not known commodity, because obviously Kurt Schnetti and like this Indiana team has like been kind of playing in these games for the last couple of years now. But I just trust Oregon more and the talent. And I think Dante Moore is a really good quarterback who we saw in this massive situation like this before. And it was on the road, and he was just perpetually calm and knows how to like handle the ball and take care of business. Not saying that Mendoza can't, but I'm just gonna go with the guy who's playing at home, and we saw already like dominate in a hostile environment. Compared to a quarterback coming into one. So I'm gonna go with Oregon. I think it'll be closer. I don't think Oregon's gonna cover. I'll say 27-24.
Okay. I like that. I think this is gonna be one of the best games of the season. But I'm also just gonna lean with the home team here, Oregon. I'm gonna go 31-27,
Okay.
Oregon. So I think that
you're taking the over. Or you said
yes. Yeah, I think the quarterbacks are going to put on a show. I think Mendoza and Moore are the real deal, and I'm really excited to see what they do in this matchup. So
say your score again.
31-27.
Okay, yeah. All right. Any other games you want to take a look at? Well, not just
biggest game of the. Go ahead.
Well, I'd say one, we're talking about great rivalry trophies. We have Iowa, Wisconsin this week for the Heartland Trophy. If you've never seen the Heartland Trophy, it's a 70-pound bowl, like brass bowl. And then again, look at Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, who Virginia Tech 2-4 this year, and 14-point underdogs. But Georgia Tech looked very shaky last week against Wake Forest, and kind of just snuck away with that game. Only they won 30-29. So just something to look at if Georgia Tech is for real in the ACC, or if they're liable to slip up down the road.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one too. My big matchup: 1-4 Kent State hosting 0-5 UMass. Big action going on.
The MAC is weird.
Homecoming in Kent.
Is it homecoming?
There you go. Homecoming.
The MAC is weird right now because it's a lot of teams who are, like I mean, it's UB and Western Michigan both 2-0, and then it's a lot of 1-1 teams in the MAC right now for conference play. And a lot of teams who are like 3-3 or 2-3 right now. So it's interesting to see. We'll see where the MAC's going to shake out as we go forward. We got to see a couple more weeks, and when we get into actual like MACtion play, when it's Tuesday and Wednesday games, to see how things are going to settle out and who's coming away. Toledo right now definitely looking pretty good. Really good defense and a high-powered offense.
Yeah. Last week, a big upset though, and this you're probably going to see this in the MAC a lot. Ohio was a 16.5 point favorite there. Cat's just invading our show all night. Was 16.5 point favorite, losing on the road outright to Ball State 21-14. So like you just don't know what's going to happen in this conference this year.
Yeah. There's no. I mean that you talk about it. Like people want parity. There's a lot of parity in the MAC. That's for sure. That's what makes it exciting.
Absolutely. Any other games? So you mentioned
well, Missouri, Alabama, top 25 matchup. See what happens with that. That's a guy too, Bo Pribilla, who people are talking about a lot, obviously because he was at Penn State the last couple of years, transferred out to become a starter. That's gonna be his biggest game he's ever played in. Interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, and in Missouri. So Bama 3.5 point favorites there, but like I said, like I feels like anything can happen in the SEC this year. I wouldn't be surprised if Mizzou wins that game against Bama. Bama's really impressive the last couple of weeks, but Mizzou, Pribula has had that offense going. It's a tough environment there. It's 11 a.m. Central start. Anything can happen there. And then you mentioned Georgia and Auburn, that rivalry game. It's just who knows, man. Well, Michigan. Did you mention Michigan USC? We talked about that yet at all?
No. So Michigan
at USC. That's the Saturday night.
Yeah. That's 7:30. That's nice.
That's the Saturday night matchup. Listen.
Is that where game day is?
I think Michigan. Game day is. Where is college game day this week?
Is it? It's probably
no. They're in Autzen.
Yeah,
they're in Eugene. They're at Oregon. They got to get the duck on there at some point. Listen, Michigan has not let Bryce Underwood really do anything this year so far. You look at Bryce Underwood's stat lines in all these games, they have not really had him do much. USC puts points up like crazy. He's gonna have to make some plays.
He's gonna have to air it out. Yeah.
I think USC is gonna win that one. I think USC ends up taking that against Michigan. So
I can see. I mean, especially road trip. I mean, obviously that game is like played a little bit later, so it shouldn't affect them as much. But going across the country, we're seeing it factor in a lot to teams.
Yeah.
One more game, I guess we should talk about South Carolina LSU, which was a massive game last year. It was really fun, high scoring affair, really back and forth. Again this year, and I don't know. Do you know South Carolina's schedule? Its upcoming schedule?
It's wild. They have like 5 ranked games in a row. I think,
so they are at number 11 LSU. Then they are home to Oklahoma, home to Bama, at Ole Miss, at Texas A&M. That's their next 5 games. So, and all those teams currently are ranked. Will they be ranked down the road? Possibly not. But right now they all are ranked. So that's one to check out too. Just because last year that game was awesome. So.
It's gonna be a fun weekend. It's one of those weekends you wait for a college football Saturday to happen. Just a lot of big games all over the place. So we'll be locked in. We know you'll all be locked in. So for Alex Majka, this is Jake Majka. We're not here to play school. We're here to preview college football. We'll be back next week at our normal time, most likely for the Week 8 slate. But for now, folks, have a great rest of your week. Get ready for Saturday. It's right around the corner. And we'll talk soon. Have a good one.